The line of sight tool in LP360 works only in the LP360 for ArcGIS platform. Here I have loaded a sample data set from the outskirts of San Diego, California that was downloaded from the USGS Click site. I'm going to change the view in the 3D window to a 10 so you get a better idea of the texture of the surface. And in the data view, I'm going to change the legend to classification. And for the purposes of this demo, there have been 2 buildings classified. They're hard to see at this zoomed out region, but if I display buildings only, you can see there are 2 structures that have been classified as buildings, and we're going to evaluate the line of sight between them. Next, I'm going to select the line of sight tool from the Viewer Integration toolbar. The dialog box comes up. And notice that I have the ability to offset height from the actual LiDAR surface. So in many cases, the line of sight analysis might involve something that's potentially elevated above the surface, either a person of a certain height standing looking out over the scene, or a tower that might be built, or what have you. So you have the ability to add offsets. In this case, let's assume we're going to build, for example, a 10-foot tower on top of the building that's on top of the hill, and we want to know if it's going to be visible at the building at the bottom of the hill. Next, I'm going to place my points. I'm going to set the observer point, which is, in this, I'm calling the building at the top of the hill the observer. And I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to left click again on the target point. Okay, now the line of sight is visible in the 3D window and also in the profile window. If I zoom, I can see the start and end point and how they intersect with the surface. Notice in the line of sight dialog at the bottom, it indicates that there is an obstruction point that's blocking the line of sight. One thing I might do in my scenario is just change the height of the offset from the surface to see if by raising or lowering either of the points I can change the line of sight condition. So let me add 10 feet to each of the end points, and I can refresh the line of sight and now see that the target is visible from the observer. You can also rotate the line of sight about either the observer point or the target point by just clicking the buttons in the line of sight dialog. One last comment I'd like to make is just in the definitions of these terms, observer and target. Remember, line of sight is line of sight between 2 points. Whether you're standing at one point and looking at the other point, or someone's at the other point looking back at you, it doesn't affect the solution of the line of sight. So you can be somewhat creative in deciding how to define these terms in your particular problem.